We live? All right, I'll edit that part out. All right, hey everybody, this is Ben McCann with Indy Christian Media, and I'm here with Mr. Curtis Sliwa. I did pronounce it correctly.
You got it. You didn't slip it and slide it.
I didn't slip it and slide it. Curtis Sliwa is the founder of Guardian Angels. He's from New York City. The radio host out there. He hosts from the Empire State Building. So he was actually the guy when you saw Godzilla, not Godzilla, King Kong fall off the Empire State Building. That was actually Curtis. He reached through the window and punched him off of the building, and with one of his martial arts moves.
Exactly.
But Curtis, can you tell us what is the Guardian Angels? What are you doing here in Indianapolis? And let Indianapolis know why you're here and why we should be involved and support our local Guardian Angels.
Sure. Well, first of all, the Guardian Angels is a group that I started 32 years ago in the Bronx, one of the 5 boroughs that make up New York City, but it's always been considered the worst borough in terms of crime, poverty, violence, gangs, drug dealing. And it just so happens that in the late 70s, the Bronx was slipping into the abyss. There have been documentaries done on it, movies, the Bronx is burning. And gangs had essentially taken control of so many parts of the Bronx. I happened to be managing a McDonald's.
Okay.
I was a night manager at that time. And I had problems, both from the time I took on the shift at 4 o'clock when youngsters were being trained by Fagin-like adults outside to come in like locusts through the cornfield and pickpocket, and jostle, snatch change, snatch pocketbooks, run out the door.
It was organized.
Oh, totally organized. And then, in the middle of the night of my shift, you'd have people coming in there shooting up dope as dope fiends.
In the middle of the restaurant?
Right in the middle of the restaurant.
Wow.
Prostitutes, johns, you name it, trying to use the bathrooms to negotiate price. People doing lines of cocaine in the bathroom to the point where I had to close the bathroom.
Wow.
So if you had almost the call of nature, tough noogies, you had to find another place to satisfy that. And then in the wee hours of the morning, people would come in thinking that we were their ATM machine and they had the PIN numbers on their knuckles because they knew they could rob McDonald's.
Wow.
Because the liquor store down the block, the only other store that was open at that night, bulletproof glass, guard who looked like he had steroids in his Cheerios that morning, AK-47, totally different than Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald, yeah.
So we were getting robbed on a regular basis. And that was just running the McDonald's. And I'd have to schlep all the way to the number 4 train, which was nicknamed Mugger's Express.
Mugger's Express.
And I'd have
we
to
don't
take
have one of those names.
Right, and we'd have to take it from the Bronx to Brooklyn, where I was living, another borough, which had been renamed Crooklyn because of all the crime. So I'd be sitting there with my...
They even had a movie named Crooklyn.
It was a Spike Lee movie,
yeah,
right? So I'd be sitting there with my jacket.
Which in Indianapolis, we're not big fans of Spike Lee, but...
Oh, neither am I. 40 acres and a mule, I would take all 40 acres and I would send the mule on its way. But anyway, so they have the McDonald's logo, the Golden Arches on my jacket. And I'm sitting there minding my business. All of a sudden, young men would come rolling through the subway car singing doo-wop and a cappella, and you would say, oh, this is great. Musicians, art. At 2 in the morning. Does it get any better than this? And they'd be singing songs like Manhattan Makes It and Brooklyn Takes It.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden they'd look at me because, gee, I had the symbol of corporate wealth, McDonald's, and they thought that I was Ronald McDonald on my way to the bank.
Right.
And I'd have to launch a preemptive strike against these Gavones. And I'm ending up fighting for my life.
Gavones is a bad guy.
That's right. Very good. Very good interpretation.
Just interpreting my New York interpretation. Okay.
So I'm getting into all these fights just to be able to make sure that I could get to and from my home without ending up room temperature in a pine box 6 feet under pushing daisies.
Not a good place to be.
Not at all. And I certainly saw other people who had been victimized by these criminals. And then I sort of lit the light bulb, said, wait a second. I can't blame politicians for this. There's been cutbacks in the budget. I'm not going to blame the police for being indifferent or apathetic, although some of them were pounding outside the Dunkin' Donuts waiting for the fresh buttermilk twist to come out. I'm going to take responsibility for what's happening because it's our own people. It's not like we've been invaded by a foreign army. Right. And I started to organize my closing crew. that had to be responsible to me to pay them their wage for the week.
Sure.
And I'd put the arm on them and use undue influence to brainwash them to start patrolling out with me in the middle of the morning as the guardian angel.
Wow. And that's how the Guardian Angels got started. And then you guys, I mean, you do martial arts training, you help feed the homeless.
You know what? I don't have
expanded to more than just protecting the city. It's also taking care of people, and much more than that.
Well, when people, because we're in 14 countries now, 140 cities with 5,000 members, they start to say to themselves, "Oh, you
well,
mean Hell's Angels,
ones that are here,
Vigilantes, Charlie's Angels?" So we have to explain to them, Guardian Angel. Now,
we're the good guys.
Right. Two different aspects. There's the religious sense, Guardian Angels. People can understand that if they've been brought up religiously. But from the secular side, is that
which ones are the ones here?
What is the absolute reverse of the Hell's Angels? The Guardian Angels.
Exactly.
For the ones you would figure out, well, there must be something to protect people. And so that's what we do. We spread our wings, and we're trying to protect the women, the infirm, the elderly, the children, those who can least defend themselves. So that means having programs for the young, as young as 8 to 15.
So like my kid can start with Junior Guardian Angels now. If the people in Indianapolis want to get connected to Randy Howard, he's the local.
Randy Howard's our local person. One person can make a difference. Randy certainly proves that as Guardian Angels leaders have all over the world. But to keep the young people out of harm's way, to get them thinking, I got to be a provider, a protector, not a predator, not a prayer. And then immediately build within them self-esteem, the ability to communicate so that they don't all of a sudden start talking like, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, and hanging out with the wrong crowd. And pretty soon, they become a dysfunctional member of our society.
Right.
So, number one, cyber angels, which patrols the internet.
Okay.
So I'm proud.
There's people that are good at the internet, like Taylor, who's running the camera here. She could be a cyber angel.
Oh, absolutely. From the comfort of your home with a laptop or in front of your computer, you can assist by donating hours to keep young children out of harm's way, but also women from being stalked and investors from being scammed.
Yeah.
It's the other thing we don't pay attention to. A lot of investors get scammed and they don't say anything because they're embarrassed. But they need to be educated and other people need to be warned. And then we have the role model zone in which we develop role models that can easily be inserted into any community. Because as you know, with the lack of particularly male role models in some communities, you need to create alternative role models, people that young children can look up to. And that's what the Guardian Angels become.
Okay, so I'm a financial professional. I could go out to my other good guys that are out there, and they could be part of Guardian Angels without putting their life on the line. And like you guys do, where it started out on the streets without, going out and going and beating up guys with guns. They could go out and they could be cyber patrol and look for internet scams and true, investment scams and stuff like that. And that's a way that financial professionals could get involved in the Guardian Angel.
Oh, gee, I would immediately recruit you to go into Wall Street to make citizens arrest against all the white-collar criminals that will run the banks and the financial institutes who almost ruined all of us in 2008.
Yeah. Okay. So so those white-collar criminals. I mean, because of the corruption that they've caused, it's caused a lot of people to lose jobs.
Yes.
And because those people that have lost jobs, now they're looking for it, and sometimes they may not get into the right thing. So really, it's the white-collar criminals that are a bigger part of what's going on in society than the ones that are just trying to maybe they're stealing something so they can feed their family or something like that, and they get into a life of crime because they're just trying to survive, and then it just becomes a way of life. But these guys are the ones that cause the big because of their greed. So
there's no question. In fact, there's a program now called American Greed on CNBC. And in almost every one of the profiles, it talks about how this man and this woman who created this Ponzi scheme had plenty of money to begin with. Didn't have to do this.
It was just greed. It was pure greed.
All pure greed. And what happens is that feeds the beast. And so you need as many people ratting out people who are committing these horrible offenses in which millions of dollars are being stolen. People's retirement funds, people's ability to survive. And those people are like nameless and faceless. We don't see those victims like we would a victim who just got held up for $5 and then they're being interviewed on the 6 o'clock news. It was a horrible, imagine getting completely wiped out. And then the Ponzi schemer is basically getting little, if any, time in jail. So we need to prioritize that. That could be another level of the guardian angels vetting out white-collar crime.
Okay.
Encouraging people to drop down, rat them out early on in the process so less people get harmed along the way.
So on the Guardian Angels website, do you guys have tips for people to look for Ponzi schemes? I mean, do you have things that people can do to kind of look for those things and stuff like that?
Well, what we do is we broadly demand that people take the window shades off their eyes, cotton balls out of their ears, a zipper off their mouth, that they can no longer operate on the MYOB philosophy.
Mind your own business. Yeah.
So you didn't get taken by a Ponzi scam.
And I let it go because I didn't want to...
Right. You had an intuition. You knew something was wrong, but you said, hey, it's not my money.
Right.
You should have been blowing the whistle. You should have been ratting them out. So what we're saying is, in tandem...
That's the problem with the FBI, and that's the problem with local police. I mean, literally, they're in triage mode right now. They're just trying to keep the worst of the worst off the streets, and they don't even have enough room in the jails for even the white-collar crimes or those guys. I mean, they're letting them off, and they're still able to commit crimes.
But a lot of times, they don't know of the crime until after the fact. Whereas the more people ahead of the curve who start alerting and pressing every button, somebody's going to pay attention out there. And the other problem that we have now with the younger generation is as they grow up in this world of rap and hip-hop, the credo is snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. So it's not even mind your own business. It's not, don't cooperate at all. Don't answer questions. Don't tell your parents what's going on. Don't speak to your older brothers and sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents. Don't talk to a judge. Don't talk to an investigator, a cop, a teacher, a social worker, a guidance counselor. Basically, snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. So, for instance, it's so perverted. If I rob you, let's say I take your iPod. I take your shoes just to embarrass you. I take your pants to make you walk around in your BVDs, your Fruit of the Loop. Your job is not to rat me out, not to report me to the police. Take one or two paths. Accept the fact that in this predatory world, Darwinian survival of the fittest, you're a victim, and you're going to continue to be a victim, and just be lucky you're alive. Or go out and get a gun and seek vengeance against me and go for yours.
Both of those aren't a solution.
No, the second one is pouring gasoline on the fire.
Oh, yeah. Well, and so you guys provide an infrastructure by which people, and a discipline system by which people that want to get involved can get involved at whatever level they're comfortable with.
And we're the third party. Provide us with the information. Your fingerprints aren't on it.
Right.
You remain independent and autonomous. Stay above the fray.
You get it to the Guardian Angels. You're part of the Guardian Angels. You get it to the police.
We do the heavy lifting.
And you don't have to worry
about it. We take it to the right office. We'll let you know if it ends up in the round filing cabinet, out of sight, out of mind, or if something is being done about it. Then you, as the provider of the information, feel fulfilled.
Right.
You have a third party, taking the risk.
Yeah.
You did the right thing, and you're being informed as to whether your information was followed up on.
Awesome. That's great. So tell all the viewers here in Indianapolis, I mean, there was some stuff that happened here in Indy, and you're here really to help Indianapolis today. Thank you, by the way, for coming to Indianapolis, for supporting Randy and the guys that are coming down from Chicago, Miguel and those guys. We really appreciate you just coming out here. Tell the people in Indianapolis and Indy Christian Media, if you've got some final thoughts for them, what they can do and what they can do to get involved with the Guardian Angels or what they need to know.
Well, I think first and foremost, what you saw last summer, the shootings downtown, in a downtown that had been redeveloped, it was really the crown jewel of the city. An international area of pride. People would come in here from Paris, Milan, and Hong Kong and say, wow. Boy, because anyone who had traveled here years ago, like I had, you could have rolled the sagebrush through. Downtown was dead.
Indianapolis was beautiful.
Broad Ripple, downtown, and then this flagrant violence on behalf of young people taking place. You know that with the warm weather coming, more of this is going to happen. That's why the graduation today that I was in charge of, giving out the certificates, is so important. Getting that first level of support out into the streets. We want others now to join the Indianapolis effort, whether they live in the city or they're from the surrounding suburbs. We want them to help Randy in his effort. And all they got to do is just go on the website, www.guardianangels.org, find the Indianapolis listing, contact Randy, be willing to come down, check out what a training is like, see what a patrol is like, go through a training yourself, and see if this is the kind of public safety and a volunteer commitment you're interested in making to improve the quality of life, not just maintain it,
Right.
to improve it.
So those of you on Indie Christian Media, if you look over to the right-hand side of the website, you'll see a little link that's got the Guardian Angels logo on there. You click on that logo, you'll be connected directly to Randy Howard, the Indiana director. We'll also get you some links that are out there. And so go check out on the right-hand side Indie Christian Media, and you'll see the link for the Guardian Angels on there. I just want to thank you, Curtis, for coming out, for doing your part, for standing up for what's right, man. God bless you. You have a great day. Thank you.